besties, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and there is something different about me. Can you guess it? I am gonna give you 5 seconds. That was 10. You know what? I'll give you 10 seconds. Halfway, have you guessed? 3, 2, 1. Type it in the comments below if you can guess. Look! I got my tattoos! This is my first ever tattoo. So before we get into the video, I just want to show you this. So, my dream is to get like a bunch of little like small to medium sized tattoos all up my arm because I just want my arm to look like it has doodles on it. That has been my dream tattoos. I love that style. I don't want sleeve tattoos, but I want it to look like just like a bunch of shit on my arm that I'm like, ah, that one means that one means that one means that one means that. You know what I mean? Also, when I posted online that I got my first ever tattoos, everyone assumed that I was getting an allegedly bear. Y'all, I am not that committed. No. So they're actually my Miley Cyrus tattoos. So this is Pablo the Blowfish. This is from her song Space Boots. And then this is from her song BB Talk from my favorite album from her, Miley Cyrus and Her Dead Pets. So I want my arm to be basically my favorite movies, my favorite songs, my favorite albums, my favorite artists, my favorite things. And so I'm really happy with these. And the tattoo artist Chloe was amazing. And she was basically saying to me, wow, you really went big or went home. Go big or go home. That's what I meant. Because not only was it my first ever tattoo, I got 3 at once. And I didn't move at all, and she said that my pain tolerance was very good. So, well done, Adam. And final point, Miley Cyrus's new album, Plastic Hearts, just came out. Wow, this sounds like a sponsored for Miley Cyrus, but it's not. I just love her so much, and I've been listening to this album on repeat between that and the Kylie Minogue album and Mariah Carey's Christmas albums. I'm in a really good just mindset. I love music. So now, let's get into the video. So, this is about Shane Dawson. Now, the reason can I be really transparent with you right now? I didn't know whether I wanted to include this part, which I'm gonna tell you in the video or whatever, but just sitting down here, it feels natural, and I feel like I would be bullshitting you if I didn't. The topic we're gonna be talking about is about animals and an animal losing its life and dying. Now, not only is that very triggering, on top of that, it's about a cat. Now, you're probably like, okay, like, yeah, it's sad, whatever. I lost my family cat over the summer, if you remember. Not to get all fucking doom and gloom. I mean, that's what the video was literally centered around that, but for someone else. But she was our family cat, Cookie. I will be getting a Cookie tattoo in reference to her. She unfortunately died this summer. We had her for years upon years upon years. She was my favorite animal ever, and yeah, that death was a really hard-hitting one, and so talking about this subject is extremely triggering beyond words. Now keep in mind, she died on the day I hit 100,000 subscribers, so I have such a weird connection towards that now. It like is so weird to me. I remember I didn't even want to celebrate on that day just because I was so sad. And so anyway, I've never talked about that, but there's a video of me literally crying on my channel the day it happened because I was a mess. And so there's a video of Shane Dawson, because that has just happened to him, crying on his channel, and even knowing that that was out there was very triggering towards me because it brought up that there's that of me out there as well. So I wasn't going to do this video and or talk about it, but I was getting such an overwhelming amount of people messaging me being like, why haven't you talked about this? It's been 2 days, talk about this, you need to talk about this, you've been updating about Shane, you need to do this update. And honestly, the reason I'm doing this video is because I don't want to let you down, and a lot of people are going to be very upset with me if I don't do this video and I don't give you this update, because I have been saying things, you know, that have been happening with Shane. So I agree, it's not authentic for me to like leave a big part out, because this is the biggest part yet. But just know that this video, if I seem a little bit off, is incredibly fucking triggering, and I hate using that word, but upsetting, then I'll say, because it's bringing back a lot that I've like buried down because I don't want to cry again, because I spent many nights doing that. So anyway, let's get in with the video. Okay, sorry for that. I literally wasn't even going to include that, but it just felt right. So, if you remember, Rylan Adams, Shane Dawson's fiance, has a podcast called The Sip. Now, on my channel, I predicted what has happened. I said that Shane Dawson was going to make his return, like his biggest one yet, on this podcast because, you know, they can go on the podcast, it's more attention for Ryland's podcast as a whole, and Shane Dawson isn't posting something directly on his YouTube channel, which, as we know, normally whenever a cancellation of a YouTuber happens and they post a video after months of being gone, normally they lose a lot of subscribers just because people are like, oh, I forgot I'm subscribed to you, and whatever. So it's probably not in the best interest for him to post on his YouTube channel for a bit until people forget so that they don't unsubscribe. So doing it on Ryland's channel reminds people that he's here, you know, shows more content of him for the people who are actually, you know, down to want to watch it. And overall, it's the best thing he could have done in this situation because more attention for Ryland, more money for Ryland's podcast, and just, yeah, we know that he's been heavily promoting this podcast, so it was kind of only natural that he went on it. The Ryland himself was even hearting comments on the first podcast episode, insinuating that in the future Shane would be coming on the podcast, so again, it was only a matter of time before this happened. Now, the return of Shane Dawson, like actually this time because he's talking and he's in a video and he's on the podcast, is a really weird one and not what I was expecting. So I'm gonna pull something up in a second, but Ryland actually announced that he got a new cat, and Shane was, you know, in the thumbnail and Shane was in the video, and I remember I saw it and I was like, okay, that's dope, you know, an animal as a family member, and I love animals, so like, just, I love seeing cute animals as well, so regardless of my opinions of Shane, Ryland, or whatever, if there's a cute animal on the screen, I want to see that cute animal. So I didn't click on the video, but I was aware that they got a new cat. People were messaging me, people were telling me to make a video about the fact they got a new cat, and I was like, really? Is that the most interesting thing in the world? No. So it was a podcast episode, it was 40 minutes long, and it says, meet our new kitten. So Ryland here, the little kitty here, and then Shane and the cat. So, you know, introducing the cat, nothing seemed wrong. Now keep in mind, I have not watched this video, I've watched the other one, but this was just basically, from my knowledge, introducing the cat in a very, you know, sweet video. So this was 1 week ago, so you can imagine my shock and just the general public's shock when less than a week later, this video pops up on that same podcast channel. Our cat passed away, dealing with grief and loss. Now immediately when I saw this, I was like, no, they've lost Cheeto. Now, again, regardless of my opinion of anyone involved, a cat is a cat is a, I believe it, like a person, and just, an animal fucking matters, the life matters of an animal, and regardless of my opinions of thing, I don't think anything bad should ever happen to animals. I think they're the most wholesome, fucking, protect them at all costs. So my heart broke because I was like, fuck, like, I don't want anything bad to happen to their cat, Cheeto. So I automatically assumed it was that. Now, I didn't watch the video when it came out. I just assumed that that's what it was with Cheeto. And I was like, fuck, that's sad. And I feel really sorry for them. And especially what happened over summer. I can feel their pain in losing, you know, your family cat. And especially for them, it was. And then I started getting DMs and DMs and DMs from people basically saying that it wasn't Cheeto. And I was like, what other cat did they have? Like, it didn't make sense to me at all. And then I realized that a week, not even a week at the time of this one being uploaded, they had actually announced that they got a new cat, and I was like, surely not. So then, I went back and watched clips from this video, which was Meet Our New Kitten, and I was like, okay, so... And then I went and watched this one, and this was basically them talking about how, you know, the cat is no longer with them, and I was like, within a couple days? Like, what I was... literally flabbergasted. Like, again, taking the people involved out, I was like, how does that happen with an animal within that amount of time? Seemingly healthy animal and stuff like that. So I was very confused. So then I watched this video. Shane is in it. Again, it's not what I was expecting his return to be, but here it is, and, you know. So I'm actually gonna pull this up. This is a 1-minute clip from Ryland's podcast from the episode Our Cat Passed Away, Dealing with Grief and Loss. I'm putting it on here for commentary purposes and reaction. I will, in fact, be linking the podcast episode below. So this is a source from it. You can go click it. Everything is from him, Ryland, and the said podcast, so you can go over there. I'm just making sure to put that out there. I'm just watching this 1-minute clip from this 52-minute long podcast to give a little bit of context, then talk. So, okay. So we're gonna watch this, then I'm gonna explain a little bit further. Now keep in mind, I'm still really confused about this narrative, but let's get into it.
The pets are like, okay, well, I'm gonna be there for you in this time. I'm only gonna be there for 2 weeks when you need. You know, like, every soul made a commitment, and then, so it's like it was planned. You know, like Mario came when I needed him most, and I needed to feel unconditional love, and I needed to remember, like, I don't know, I don't want to get too much into the internet shit because it feels so stupid right now, like, to even think about that, but it was a thing. It was like having something, like a person, I mean, it's a cat, but it felt like so much bigger than that, and I connected to him on such a crazy level. Like, this cat was my soulmate. Like, that cat, I knew him, he knew me. Like, he trusted me. Like, the second day that he was there, he came up to me, he let me pet him, he let me give him a bath, he didn't even move. Like, he enjoyed getting a bath. That's so crazy. Like, so many things.
Okay, so that was a 1-minute clip from it. Def Noodles actually posted this. Thank you, Dennis. Now, as you can see, Dennis had posted this, and then this is the top response conversation that's going on. I'm gonna read this out to you because people are very mixed in their opinions of, you're probably still confused on how the cat died. So was I, okay? So Alice said, there is no valid excuse for the death of that poor kitten. Shane Dawson was neglectful. Period. Also, this seems kind of suspicious after everything going on about Shane surrounding animals. Maybe just me though. And then Carry On said, huskies and kittens don't go well together, especially if the dog had been there a while. They think it's prey. I have a pug, and although I let her near my neighbor's husky on a lead, I don't let her off around them because they think she's a cat. Keely responded and said, I have a lurcher, also have 2 rabbits. Lurchers are bred to hunt rabbits. The abuse I've received from having both is unbelievable. They had to say something as they introduced the kitten online. I do feel sorry for them, accidents happen. Carry On responded and said, at the end of the day, it's not really any of my business. That's shitty that you get abused for that. Not all situations are the same. Some dogs break their expected mold. I do feel sorry for the animals. Brandy, another Twitter user, responded and said, it's sad and an unfortunate accident, but it also feels like poor pet parenting when having a small kitten with 2 big dogs for the first time. And hearing this is sad, and it could have been in a very avoidable accident being talked about as if this was meant to happen and was used as a life lesson, and that's upsetting. So they're basically saying that the way they're using this as they think that this cat came down for a reason, and now it's when they think that this isn't the right approach they should be taking with it. And because this is such a sensitive topic, people are very opinionated with it, which is expected. Before we get into it a bit more, I just want to reference the Meet Our Kitten, you know, the Meet Our New Kitten podcast. There is a moment from it that everyone is talking about. So you can probably guess at this stage how the cat died. I really don't want to, I really don't want to like address it straight on just because it's really fucking upsetting. But I was reading out tweets, and you can assume what happened with the dogs, and you know what I mean. Obviously not paying attention enough and just whatever. So there is this part. Let's watch this.
Be a part of the family.
And Joe was actually pointing out, he was like, but those dogs, like their energy, like they could accidentally love somebody to death. Like,
oh my god.
Crush them.
You're giving me tragic flashbacks to...
Wait, did that happen?
My poor hamster as a childhood. He escaped his cage.
So that's a moment that people are bringing up, and they're being like, y'all were aware, you know, bringing a small kitten in who's not aware of, you know, the situation with big dogs around, not the best situation. So, fucking hell. Oh my god. Okay, so let's talk about it, right? Okay, so now we're gonna talk about it. Again, I really apologize if I'm being wishy-washy in this video. Okay, losing a pet is one of the hardest things ever, and I think people don't take that as seriously as I believe it. Like, people are like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you, and then it's like almost like expected to get over it like straight away. So to Shane Ryland, I'm so sorry that you've lost an animal that obviously meant a lot to you, and just even if it didn't mean a lot to you, like, that's an animal who had a life ahead of it. Especially such a young fucking kitten. It was so cute too. I'm so sorry to both of you, because obviously it was living with you and it became a part of the family, obviously. In the topic of people saying that it was very neglectful, because I don't think this video would be very truthful if I avoided the big conversation happening around this, and you can hate me for bringing it up, you can do whatever, but all it takes is looking in the comment section or looking on Twitter to see that people are saying this. People are very upset with both of them, that their behavior was neglectful, and that the cat could still be here if more attention was possibly paid towards it. And obviously, you know, being aware of big dogs and... you know what I mean? Okay, so my opinion of it, just whenever it comes to like animals and them losing their life, I just think it's such a sensitive topic, even personally, but just I know for other people who have pets. This made me really sad regardless of my opinions of anyone involved, and I wish them the best in the healing. Shane coming back in the podcast in this way was quite weird to me, honestly, and the narrative being pushed that the cat was here for such a short amount of time, but the time that it was here, like, it had a reason. I don't know if maybe it was just being phrased wrong, and there's a lot of emotions, so probably, but I don't think it's really like a life lesson if an animal's life is ended in a neglectful way. So... it had a life ahead of it, and what has happened has unfortunately happened, and there's nothing anyone can do about that. However, this is something that happens all the time as well, unfortunately, with bigger dogs and cats or other animals, and like small kittens, and even like cats to like other animals, like rats, hamsters, whatever. It is something that happens, so that's not... or let's not pretend that this is, you know, some like... unusual event, because this does unfortunately happen. It's very easy to be avoided, however, and I think that it should have been avoided. And again, I've never really pushed you to go watch Ryland's podcast, but hey, if you want to go watch that one and like they talk about what really happened and stuff, or what they're telling us happened, you can make your own opinions. Again, because this is quite sensitive to talk about, I have some quite strong opinions about this that I'm just going to keep to myself. Because this just really upset me, and I think could have been so avoided, but it's happened, and I'm so sorry to both of them for their loss, and it's obviously affected them. Ryland was deeply listening to Shane whenever he was talking, and yeah. People are also saying that this is what annoys me as well. Like, people are saying that this is possibly PR, which I think is not the case, because who would ever go that far with an animal to create a PR story? No one. I think people who are doing that are reaching in such a disgusting way, and losing a pet is such a hard thing, and it needs to be taken seriously as well. Again, what has happened has unfortunately happened, and it's dealing with that. The kitten was with them long enough to become a family member, but at the same time, the argument of them being neglectful is definitely there. So I want to know what your opinion is of this. I'll have a few questions. What's your opinion on what has happened? What's your opinion on Shane's big comeback being this? I'm sure this wasn't planned, so it's not like, you know, a planned out thing or whatever, but just what's your opinion of him being on the podcast so soon? I didn't expect it actually to be this soon. And just everything that we kind of talked about in this video. So, again, for the people who wanted me to make this video, and you can't ignore that most of my audience wanted me to make this video, I hope I did it justice, and I hope you're okay with it, and just know that I just was avoiding talking about some things or going into really specifics just because, like, okay, you know what I mean? There's wounds that haven't healed for me personally, and I hate talking about that kind of shit, but just no, that's what it is. So, I love you, I will see you in my next video, and hopefully it's a lot more upbeat than this one. But I agree that I have been talking about this, so I needed to continue with it. So, I love you, and I'll see you in my next one, and I hope you're having a really good weekend, and staying safe, healthy, and hope you had a good Thanksgiving if you celebrate that. And Christmas is upcoming if you celebrate that, and if you don't, I hope you have a good December, and end of 2020. I'll see ya, bye.